going, gentlemen? It's Jesse here from Attractionzilla, and today I'm sharing with you 10 tips, count them, 10 tips on how to pick up cute cashier girls. You know, those girls that work at stores, work at boutiques, work at fast food joints. Now, a lot of these women are like big, fat land whales, but some are surprisingly beautiful. Some are surprisingly cute. And hey, you're gonna be talking to her anyway, right? So you might as well know what to say and know how to spark attraction with her and get her phone number. In fact, at the end of this video, I'm gonna be giving you the exact words to say to that beautiful girl behind the cash register so that you can get her phone number every single time. So be sure to stick around to the end of the video to catch that. Now, of course, most women work in retail are not particularly attractive, but of course there's always that stunner out there. And what I would do is I would clam up. I would get really stifled. I'd look down at my shoes, not say anything to her at all, get in and get out as fast as possible. I'd even go to another line just to avoid talking to the hot girl. And it literally took me years getting comfortable in those situations and just figuring out what to say through trial and effort. And that's what I'm gonna be sharing with you in this video. So gentlemen, buckle up your seatbelt and let's crack right into it. All right, gentlemen, tip number one for picking up those cashier girls, those girls working the register. It's not necessarily as hard as you might think. Just because she's a beautiful girl, there's a couple factors here working in your favor. Just think about it, gentlemen. First of all, the pay's not good. They don't really want to be there for the pay. They're not making that much money. The girls are bored out of their freaking minds. They're just doing the same thing over and over again. They're just craving. They're just waiting for some new stimulus. And they hate their job, or they hate their boss, or they hate both their job and their boss. That girl is feeling understimulated. She is feeling numb as her soul is slowly eaten away. So she's gonna welcome anyone, or really anything that's gonna swoop in and break up some of that monotony and give her some of that excitement that she's so badly craving in her day. So it really doesn't take that much on your part to spike her feelings and give her that little bit of excitement that she's craving. I mean, after all, she's not in a nightclub, right? In a nightclub, the girl's being overstimulated. She's with her friends. She's dressed in a hot little outfit getting attention. It's not that kind of environment. So you really don't have to do that much to stand out and build that charged excitement and attraction with that girl. Which leads us directly into tip number two, gentlemen. If you want to be dating these hot cashier girls, you need to be well dressed and you need to be well groomed. I mean, just imagine that girl's typical day for a moment. Just imagine her situation. All the dudes coming through that are dressed lazy and that are dressed sloppily with the graphic t-shirt of the dragon from Walmart and the flip-flops and the chest hairs coming out. He's not well groomed. He's got hairs coming out of his nose. His breath stinks. Imagine how 99% of the men present themselves, which means you need to be the first guy of her day that's gonna break that routine, that's gonna break that visual monotony of just seeing mediocrity. You need to be the first guy that comes through her world being very sharply dressed with a carefully chosen shirt that's going to wow her, being well groomed. Even if she's a worker at McDonald's, that cute girl, she needs to see that you're dressed 2 or 3 or 4 notches above everyone else, so that when she meets you, she's like, oh my God, that guy's looking fly. He's looking high status. You don't need to be the most handsome man in the room, but you do need to be the best dressed and the best groomed man in the room. And just doing that alone, of course, doesn't mean you're gonna get her number or go on a fun date with her, but it does make you stand out from the other 1,000 guys she's gonna see that day. It's sort of a prerequisite for you to stand out and be able to make an impression on her. All right, gentlemen, moving on. on. Tip number 3 for dating these cashier girls and girls working the register. Something to keep in mind here. You don't need to get her number right away. You don't need to. You know, if a girl's walking down the street, you run up to her and you strike up a conversation, you better get her number on that first interaction because most likely you're never gonna see her again. But if the girl is working a cash register, yes, you will see her again. She's got a work schedule. She's going back week after week, day after day. You're gonna be able to see her again. So you can slow play that interaction with that girl over the course of weeks or even months, where through repeated points of contact, you begin to build this sense of familiarity with the girl, where you become increasingly familiar to her, a familiar face, almost like you're in her social circle. And that affords you a lot more opportunities to build attraction with her, build up that charged excitement, and only then, once she's consistently giving you some IOIs, some indicators of interest, you can usually see it in the pupils of the girl's eyes, the way she treats you, the way she smiles, then, only then do you get her phone number. This is a phenomena that even works in bars and clubs. For example, early on in the night, you might make the rounds, introduce yourself to a bunch of girls, and if the really pretty one, if she's kind of giving you the cold shoulder, it's no big deal. It's just a quick introduction. You go up to her 30 minutes later, say hi to her again, very often that hot girl will suddenly be warm to you because she's already met you, and now it's kind of tricking her brain into thinking that she knows you, that you're part of her social circle in a way. So reintroducing yourself to a girl again and again and again has this effect of warming her up to you because you become a familiar face in her mind. Now, that being said, it brings us to tip number 4. If you have good logistics in the moment and the girl is digging you that first time, doesn't mean you have to have multiple points of contact before you get her phone number. You can go for her number right away that first time you meet her, if the conditions are right. For example, say you're at McDonald's and it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Nobody else is there. There's nobody in line behind you. And you're chatting up this gorgeous, stunning young lady, and she's really digging you. She's liking your game. You're dressed sharp. You're looking good. You can see those unmistakable signs of attraction in her eyes and the way she's smiling back at you. You don't need to wait 3 or 4 weeks to build a sense of familiarity with you. You don't need to spend months warming her up. She's already warmed up. She's already enjoying your presence there. So just go for her number right away. If the conditions are right, you have good logistics, you got a couple minutes to talk to the girl, and she's digging your presence, just go for it. Now, I got 6 more tips coming up for you on how to talk to these cashier girls, plus at the very end of the video, exactly what to say to that girl to get her phone number every single time without fail. But look, if you're watching this video, you're probably not too pumped up on the results you're getting. You're probably not dating the girls that you really want. And I don't know about you, but I didn't want to get to the end of my life with regrets, just wishing that I had the courage to approach the women I really wanted. And that's exactly why, gentlemen, I began to learn cold approach. Because just like a lot of you, I couldn't talk to the girls I really wanted to meet. I couldn't even look a girl in the eye. I couldn't even approach her, let alone get her attracted to me. Getting her attracted to me, I mean, that was completely out of the question. So I spent years, I spent decades mastering this art of talking to girls, where not only can I easily approach a woman now, but now I'm really good at teaching it to other men. And I think the reason that I'm really good at teaching this to other men is because I've been in your shoes before. And I think that's what separates me from a lot of the other dating coaches out there. Because I wasn't just born naturally being good at this. I wasn't just born with the ability to do it. I had to learn this the hard way, trenching through the mud on my hands and knees through trial and error, figuring out what works and what didn't. So I worked out a method, a system a blueprint to get you up to speed very fast, where you can easily approach a woman, strike up a conversation with her, pull her into that conversation, build the tingles, build some of that sexual tension and excitement with her, and get her motivated to follow you up for that fun first date. So if you want to come meet me and have the opportunity to work with me personally, simply go right here to attractionzilla.com. There's a link in the description below as well. It's going to take you to another page that's going to show you all about the coaching. We can hop on a call together, and I'll show you what this program can do for you, how I've helped guy after guy after guy. Because at this point, it's almost like a 10 magnet factory where we put you in at the beginning and it's like boom, 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 spitting out 10 magnets. And the reason that is because I'm there every single step of the way with you. It's not just about giving you a bunch of information and telling you to go study it on your own. I'm there holding your hand, telling you exactly what to do and keeping you accountable and on track. And that really is the easiest, the fastest, the most effective way to finally date that hot girl you really want, that hot girl you really do deserve. All right, gentlemen, tip number 5 for these cashier girls and women working the register. I want you to be persistent, gentlemen. Persistent. Just because you build charged excitement with that girl, some attraction with her, and she doesn't want to give you her phone number right off the bat, doesn't mean that the game is over yet. You still have the opportunity to visit her again and again and again, keep building on that attraction, keep building on that charged excitement, begin to flip the script to get her chasing after you, keep building on that sense of familiarity, and then you can always give her another opportunity to hang out with you again in the future. For example, there was this one time I was chatting up this really cute girl, blonde hair, blue eyes, girl working at a clothing boutique store, and I jumped the gun a little bit too early. I could see that attraction in her eyes. By the way she would flick back her hair, the way she was smiling. She was into me, but I think I went for her phone number just a little bit too early. She politely declined, so all I did is I kept visiting the store and I kept chatting her up over the next month, and then I asked her out again, and the second time, yes, she did give me her number. So guys, a little bit of persistence can pay off big rewards. All right, gentlemen, tip number 6 for these women working retail, for these women working the register, is you want to go on the off-peak hours, because every store, every restaurant, it's going to have its busy times and its off-peak times. Times when that woman is going to be really busy, going crazy out of her mind, being stressed, with being utterly bored with nothing to do. And generally speaking, you want to go during the off-peak hours when she's just bored and has nothing to do. If you go to that restaurant at 12 o'clock noon during the busy hours of lunch and she's running around like a chicken with her head cut off, you might only have 10 or 20 or 30 seconds to talk to her before she's got to go on to the next customer, right? So go say at 3 p.m. in the afternoon when there's far less people around and she's bored out of her mind. She's far more likely to talk to you at that point. That way, when there's far less pressure on her shoulders, she can actually chat you up for 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, get to know you, build that sense of familiarity, build a little bit of that sparkle, that charged excitement without having to run off to the next customer. All right, gentlemen, tip number 7 for these cashier girls is, while I like big box stores and big chains, there can be a lot of great opportunities for meeting women in these places. One of the problems is that the girls are often very busy and they're very often surrounded by a bunch of coworkers, which makes it a little bit tricky to chat them up for more than a minute or two. Now, what it is that I like about smaller boutique stores is very often the girl is there all by herself or maybe with just one other coworker. So it's a lot easier to chat her up and kind of have that privacy if you need a couple minutes. What I also like about smaller boutique stores is the girl is often bored out of her mind, because these smaller stores often don't have a lot of customers. So she's just waiting for some tall, dark, and handsome stranger to swoop on in and entertain her a little bit. Give her a little bit of sparkle to her day. Show her something interesting, poke her and challenge her so she can be very receptive to a man coming in and, kind of adding a little bit of spice to her day. So while your initial instincts might be telling you, oh, I can go meet women in these big box stores like Walmart and Target and the big grocery store, don't overlook the smaller boutique. Because very often you're going to have better logistics working in your favor in these smaller stores and more motivated girls. All right, gentlemen, tip number 8 for getting these cashier girls. Remember, this girl is bored out of her freaking mind. Her day is pure monotony for the most part. So then you come on in and you have no facial expression. You come in all serious. You're not smiling. You almost look a little bit mean or a little bit down. Gentlemen, that's not going to excite the girl. That's not going to attract the girl. You're pretty much like every other dude she's seen during the entire day. What you want to be doing is break her out of that work trance and jolt her with some aliveness. Jolt her with some energy. Get her feeling something. And that's going to start with your facial expressiveness and your smile and that twinkle in your eye to kind of infect her with your good energy, with your positive vibes, to bring something different to the table than any other guy, where you're gonna make her feel a little bit more alive, a little bit more juiced, a little bit more jolted up with some energy. Because if you go in there just having this kind of, oh, ho hum energy, like super serious, oh, how's it going? It's not gonna be enough to wake her up and to catch her attention, to build that attraction. And if this is something that you have a problem with, if you're not loose enough, if your face is not alive enough, you might want to consider working with me, because that's something we're going to work on together. All right, gentlemen, tip number 9 for these cashier girls and women working the register. Very often, they're going to have their feet planted in place for a time, looking the same direction because they're dealing with customers or they're doing some work task. So you're going to use this fact about these girls to your unfair advantage here. What you're going to do is you're going to force indicators of interest from the girl before you even talk to her, to give her a sample of your personality and a sample of your charisma. So for example, say you're in a fast food joint like McDonald's and there's a cute girl there taking orders from customers. Well, before you even get in line, you want to stand in an area where she can clearly see you and even hear you. And then you want to take out your phone and pretend like you're taking a phone call from a friend. Hey, Eric. Yeah, how's it going, man? Yeah. Okay, Gina. Yeah, I remember her. No, man, she can't go to the party. She's the tall blonde one with the green eyes, right? No. She definitely can't go. She's that troublemaker. I remember her. She's a little too crazy. But yeah, Jessica can go to the party. Sure, she's great. And just to be clear, it's not a real phone call. You're not actually talking to anyone. You're having a phony phone call. But what this does is it gives you a chance to demonstrate your swagger and your charisma to the girl ahead of time. Because here you're at that McDonald's and you're speaking loudly. You're projecting your voice so that everyone else can hear you in the room, which is very dominant, alpha, and commanding. You're demonstrating authority. You're demonstrating a DHV, that you're friends with other women, that you choose which women can go to your party. That's a demonstration of higher value. You got that smile, that positivity, you got that swagger, that charisma. You want to be an earshot distance of the girl working the register so that she can clearly see you and clearly hear you and what's going on in that conversation. What you're essentially doing here, gentlemen, is you are priming the conversation with that cute girl ahead of time. You're priming some attraction ahead of time so that when you talk to the girl, she's going to be more open, more flirty, more attracted to you. And I know it sounds a little bit over the top. Maybe it sounds a little bit ridiculous, right? But guys, it works. I've done this trick hundreds of times, and every time I do it, I notice a generally better response from the girl. Anytime I use my phone to create that little bit of pre-attraction and force some IOIs ahead of time. Now, here's the important part to making that trick work. Once you go up to the girl and you start talking to her, you have to remain congruent with that awesome, charismatic guy with swagger that was on the phone. You can't start shifting your eyes around and get all shy. You need to maintain that big celebrity smile, that nice loud projection of the voice, that relaxed confidence. You want to be congruent all the way through to help maintain that attraction with the girl and build on what you already created. All right, gentlemen, tip number 10. I promise I tell you exactly what to say to a girl to get her number. What you don't want to do is just blurt out, hey, give me your number, because it can be a little bit abrupt. And also the girl might be concerned about how other people are perceiving her. She might not want her coworkers or her boss, God forbid, to see her giving out her phone number to a stranger. So what you want to say to the girl is something along the lines of, you know, you're actually pretty nice to talk to. Another time when you're not hustling, it'd be cool to hang out sometime. Maybe for like a coffee or smoothie. But look, I know your boss is watching right now, so what I want you to do is just write your number on a receipt here and give it to me. So what that does is you're still being direct with the girl. You're leading the situation, giving her some commands, but also giving her an avenue to be very discreet about it. All right, gentlemen, if meeting girls out and about in your daily life is something that really interests you, like these cashier girls, you're gonna wanna watch these two videos next. Bad boy phrases that girls absolutely melt for, as well as the 9 spots to go meet single available women that you never thought of. If you're into cashier girls, you're gonna love this video. You're gonna love this one as well. Guys, go watch them right now.